Hi, and welcome. You're listening to the X22 Report. My name is Dave, and this is episode 1059A, and today's date is August 26, 2016, and the title of the episode is Hope Phase as the Collapse Spreads Across the Country. Now, before I get started, I just want to make an announcement. Just as a reminder, tonight at 8 p.m., I'll be live with V, the Guerrilla Economist. All you need to do is go to YouTube, type in Rogue Money, and you can listen to the live stream. Let's get into the economic collapse financial news. Now, we need to understand that many people who are working every day, doing the same thing every day, they don't understand what's happening in the economy. Most of the people don't want to understand what's happening in the economy. And we are starting to see that people are waking up here and there. And we can see that the confidence of the consumer is dropping. And it's continually dropping because people that are being laid off, people that got laid off who can't find a job, they're scratching their heads and they're saying to themselves, why can't I find work? Something doesn't make sense. And when this happens, they start to lose hope. And what we're seeing right now is the UMich Hope Index. It's continually declining. It's at its lowest level since 2014 and continually dropping. And this tells us that people are starting to realize there is something wrong in the economy. And we need to understand that prior to 2008, people were out there believing everything was fine. They believed in the illusion, and that's what it was during this whole period. It was an illusion. Everything was crashing down during this entire period leading up to the stock market crash. It was getting worse and worse as time goes on. But the central bank, the U.S. government, decided to keep the illusion alive that everything is A-OK. And of course, all those people that believed in it kept on buying homes, flipping homes. Yes, there are people that did make money. There are a lot of people that lost their money. And when things came crashing down, people went from believing, laughing, everything is fine, to crying, not understanding how I lost my pension, how I lost my job, how I lost my savings. What happened? Now, it didn't happen to every single person. It happened to a huge portion of the population, but it didn't happen to everyone. This time around, they're not going to be able to stop it. The whole thing is going to come down very, very quickly. They have made the situation, and I say they, the United States government central bankers, have made this situation much, much worse than in 2008. And this is what we've been tracking. The deterioration, the collapse of the inner workings of the economy. Forget about the stock market. That is one gigantic illusion that the U.S. government, the central bank, uses to trick the people. That's it. That's what that is for right now. They control it completely. And we're starting to see a lot of evidence that we are worse off than 2008. I mean, take the dollar stores, for instance. People are having trouble going into a dollar store and purchasing basic items like bread, eggs, and milk. The dollar stores are looking to lower their prices because sales dropped. They've declined. Now, why would they decline in a dollar store? People are coming into the store and they're saying, I just don't have enough money to pay for these items. They're still too expensive. My food stamps only bring me to the half of the first part of the month. And I can't afford any of this. And we're starting to see that the lower income people, they are getting hit hard. And they're finding it harder and harder to deal with what's going on in the economy. They're finding it harder and harder with the devaluation of the dollar. And it makes it very difficult for them. We're seeing stores, everyday retail stores, Macy's, Target, Finish Line, Sports Authority. They're closing, sales are dropping. And those are just a few stores. There's many. Because the everyday person, once again, cannot go out and purchase. The manufacturing world is non-existent. When we look at the Kansas City Region Fed Manufacturing Survey, production, shipping, new orders, backlog of orders, number of employees, they're all in negative territory. And they've been this way since November of 2014. -5, -10. And they've stayed below the positive range since November of 2014. I mean, this month in August is awful. August 15th, Empire State Manufacturing dips by 5 points to -4.2. August 23rd, Richmond Fed Manufacturing, activity, new orders, shipments, they all plunge. It's a disaster. We see the BEA announce that the second quarter GDP, they've eased off from their original estimates of 1.2, and they brought it down to 1.09, which means the first quarter is around 0.83%. This is awful. When we look at the real GDP change year to year, I mean, we're hovering at 1%. And that's the manipulated number. If you remove Obamacare and stuffing the automobile lots with inventory and all these stores stuffing everything with inventory, you strip all that out, you strip out the spending in Obamacare, GDP is negative. This is awful, but the Fed is out there telling us that the economy is strengthening. In recent months, it has gotten stronger. The economy is nearing the Fed's employment inflation goals, and they're looking to raise rates. Yellen expects moderate U.S. GDP growth. The labor market is strengthening. It all looks good. And we know for a fact that this is one gigantic illusion. If you haven't seen the movie The Big Short, I would suggest watching it. I watched it last night for the first time. I'm a little behind. And what I took away from this is that, not that these people made a huge sum of money understanding what was going on, but how the economy was continually deteriorating throughout this entire time, and the subprime securities, people were defaulting on their loans, and the central bank and the U.S. government continually made everyone believe that everything was fine. There were no problems in the economy whatsoever. Think about it. What are they doing right now? They are doing the same exact thing. We've been tracking, we've been watching this entire economy, from GDP, from manufacturing, from retail, from unemployment, and something isn't right, because we continually see all of this declining. We see delinquencies in auto loans. We see corporations losing money. Sales are declining. Revenues are declining. But the stock market is continually going up. It reminds me when people were defaulting and these subprime securities were garbage, but they maintained AAA status to keep the illusion alive. We're seeing the same thing occur right now. And this time, it's going to be much worse. They have already put into place what they're going to do when this system goes down. They have the bail-in documents. They prepared with new legislation. They're prepared to continually create currency out of thin air. The Fed has already told us that if there is an economic shock, they will create $4 trillion out of thin air. Most likely it's probably going to be about triple that. They have already laid the groundwork. They already know what they're going to do because they realize that this system, it's done. They knew what was happening in 2008. They knew these subprimes were no good. They knew what was going to happen. They didn't do anything about it. They knew exactly what was going to happen. They know exactly what's going to happen this time. And this is why everyone needs to be ready, prepared for what is coming. I mean, think about it. All those individuals who were in those jobs back in 2008, they weren't prepared. They had no clue what was going on. They lost their jobs. They had to go and find new jobs if they could. People lost their houses. People lost their retirement. Those individuals that were prepared, who looked through the illusion and said, this can't be right. No matter how thick that illusion is and that fog is, they said something is wrong. And we're going to bet that this comes crashing down because it can't last this way. It just can't. They were prepared. They were ready. People laughed at them. People called them crazy. People said they were fools. But they knew. What we're doing right now is the same thing they did. We know. We're looking through the fog. We're looking exactly what's happening now. And when we look back in time, we will say we knew exactly what was happening. And yes, there are going to be people that make a lot of money off of this as it crashes because they will be prepared. They know what is happening. They're looking through the illusion, the fog. They understand it. Those people that are holding gold and silver, all of a sudden, one day, they will wake up and say, wait a minute, my gold is worth $5,000-$6,000 an ounce, maybe more. Think about it. One day, those individuals that shorted the market, they were paying premiums, millions of dollars, but one day they woke up and guess what? They made a lot more money. There's going to be others who it's going to be a complete disaster. They won't know what to do. And we can see the parallels. We see it's coming. Get prepared. Look through the illusion. Look through the fog. Who cares if people laugh at you? Who cares if they come out and say you're ridiculous, there's not going to be an economic collapse? Who cares? Because in the end, those millions and millions and millions of people who said this in 2008, guess what? They were all wrong. All of them. Who was right? The few. That's it. The few. Listen, everyone, thanks a lot for listening. Be well, be safe, and especially be prepared. Thanks a lot. Hi, and welcome. You're listening to the X22 Report. My name is Dave, and this is episode 1059A, and today's date is August 26, 2016, and the title of the episode is Hope Phase as the Collapse Spreads Across the Country. Now, before I get started, I just want to make an announcement. Just as a reminder, tonight at 8 p.m., I'll be live. Hope Index, it's continually declining. It's at its lowest level since 2014. and continually dropping. And this tells us that people are starting to realize there is something wrong in the economy. And we need to understand that prior to day, they don't understand what's happening in the economy. Most of the people don't want to understand what's happening in the economy. And we are starting to see that people are waking up here and there. And we can see that the confidence of the consumer is dropping. And it's continually dropping because people that are being laid off, people that got laid off who can't find a job, they're scratching their heads and they're saying to themselves, why can't I find work? Something doesn't make sense. And when this happens, they start to lose hope. And what we're seeing right now is the UMich Live with V, the Guerrilla Economist. All you need to do is go to YouTube, type in Rogue Money, and you can listen to the live stream. Let's get into the economic collapse financial news. Now, we need to understand that many people who are working every day, doing the same thing every